What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott, and as you can see by the title below, we're going to talk about 5 things you do when you're needy. Girl, stop being so needy. Now, disclaimer, I'm not saying all women are needy. You can be, hey, this is you to decide, right? Do you think you're needy? Do you think you're coming off needy? Well, I would say, well, maybe not that, because a lot of women don't think they're coming off needy, and then they write me, and it's like, no, girl, you're needy as fuck, you know. But I don't mean that in a bad way. That's just how some people are, which we'll go over in this video a little bit. But I'm going to talk about the 5 things you do when you're needy, okay? And I have them written down here, which so I wouldn't forget. But apparently, supposedly, it doesn't matter, because even when I do write things down, like in my video, if a guy does these 5 out of 8 things, he likes you. I forgot one of them. You all point that out. Thank you very much, you assholes. That's my fault, though. But yeah, here's the 5 things that you do when you're needy. And again, I'm not saying you're needy. That's for you to decide. I'm just saying needy people, okay? Obviously, you text too damn much. That's probably number 1. Number 2, you take up too much space, as in you want to see him all the time, all day, every day. Or you seek his validation, you seek his approval, and you try to rush things. Now, if you want to know the difference between validation and approval is always asking, like, where am I in your eyes? What are we? So, where's this going? Can I, do you like me? I'm afraid of losing. You're always asking these questions. And when you're in validation, I would say is more action oriented. It's more going out of your way or your character, just how you normally are to win this guy over. I'm talking to the extreme. I mean, like, we always do that, and in some way, like if a girl walks by, a guy puffs out his chest and starts to act more funny, and all these kind of things. But I mean, like, you really act out of character, like it's just not you. So yeah, there's those 5 things. Now, why are you needy, or why are some people needy? For the most part, the hell? Sorry, my ADHD again. For the most part, neediness comes from an insecurity. I'm not saying it's insecurity from men, but I feel like, I always say this about men, okay? I always say that a man's ego is closely tied to how well he can provide, satisfy, and win a woman over. That's just how guys are. So if he feels like he cannot win a woman over, he's pretty much a little paper bitch, because he feels really, he has a low self-esteem, low confidence. He feels bad about himself, and that's sad. That's how, like, closely linked it is. Like, if a guy cannot satisfy a woman or bring her, and I don't mean satisfy sexually, I just mean anyway, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, then it's just like, shit, like, what do I have? What do I got? I'm nothing. I'm this. I'm and that's kind of how it is. But with women, when they feel insecure or needy about a lot of things, it's not just the guy. It might transition over to relationships and men, and a lot of them feel like they're trying to fill a void. They feel like, I'm not happy unless I'm in a or I'm not happy or successful unless I'm in a relationship, and things like that. And again, it all comes from an insecurity and low self-esteem concept or mindset. Okay, so you have to fix that. And I think the best way to fix that, personally, is not just through action, progression, getting things done, moving forward, and things like that, but you really have to, like, analyze yourself, some self-assessment. You really have to sit there and think, why am I like this? What triggers me to be this way? Just you have to really, really dig in your past. Like, what makes me feel, or what's my values, my morals, my those kind of things. Do I compete or compare myself to a lot of other women? Do I always see myself trying to win a guy over? Do I always have a hard time winning men over? If so, why? You have to, like, dig yourself deep with questions, and just keep on going over them over and over and over and over again, until you feel like, okay, so this is why I'm needy. This is why I'm insecure. Don't beat around the bush with it. You got to be honest with yourself, okay? And I think once you do that, you kind of find out, like, again, you have to find out what your morals and values are. If you're someone who's, like, really superficial, then you have to find out, okay, why am I superficial? Like, why am I or why is this one thing bothering me? Or why can I just get past this obstacle or this thing? If you're, like, again, if you're someone stuck on second dates all the time, it's like, why am I always stuck on second dates? And again, there has to be a reason. Don't think it's, that's not what it is, because it is, okay? There has to be a reason you're stuck on second dates, or guys are, hitting and quitting it with you. And I'm not saying that's your fault, okay? Again, guys are assholes. Guys are probably 90% of the problem here. But there is a reason why guys, the same guy would hit and quit one woman and then date another. Okay, like I remember the girl I was crazy about 10 years ago. I was crazy about her. We were in a relationship. Then she was like, no, I'm not about that, and she didn't want a relationship with me, and we were just messing around, things like that. And she just said she didn't want a relationship, and she didn't want this, and she didn't want that. But then I found out that she would go out and date this other guy, and was talking to this other guy. I'm like, I thought you didn't want a relationship. It's kind of one of those things. She didn't say it, but it's like, yeah, I do, but not with you. And it kind of hurt me. But there's a reason, and I don't blame her for that. Again, don't blame yourself. Don't blame other people. Just figure out why. Attraction's not a choice. It's not the guy's fault. Now, it's shitty what how the guy treats you, if that's the case. But you can't say, again, it's shitty as fuck the way he treats you. If that's the case, he might hit and quit it, but you can't get mad at him for not wanting to be your boyfriend. That's just how it is. You should be mad at him for manipulating and lying to you, but you can't get mad at someone for not liking you. And there's a reason for that, okay? Again, I was looking at her, I was like, really? Like, why don't you like me? I'm this, I'm that, I treat you this way, I treat you that way. And come to find out I was a soft little bitch back then. But there's a reason why she didn't want to date me, but she wanted to date this other guy. And you have to think about the same thing. Like, why am I only getting second dates or ending first dates, and he doesn't want to go on a second? Why, does he text me a lot in the beginning, and we're having fun back and forth, and then it ends up dying off and he ends up pulling away? There's reasons for that, and you want to find that out fast, because if you don't, then you're going to get a complex. You're going to get the same thing happening over and over and over again, and you're going to see the sequence, and you're going to be like, shit. You're going to start to develop something. Like, if a guy has sex with a woman, and the first 5 women he has sex with, they all say he has a small dick, then guess what? He's going to have a complex, and he's going to feel like he has a small dick. That's just how it is. If a guy sees you naked and he's like, oh God, you're going to have a complex, if a guy keeps on doing that. Now, again, that's the other person's fault, not yours. But I'm just saying, there's a reason why people are the way they are, and you want to figure out if it's you or them, or if you're in your own head, you're making shit up. Because a lot of us, we might have a thing in our head, like a scenario, and it just unwinds, and we start to unravel it, and it goes down the dark path. Like, I remember with that, again, going back to that girl, sorry about this, but I remember going back to her. I remember when we kind of went our separate ways. She went off with this other guy. I kept thinking, like, I'm sitting at home crying like a little fucking paper bitch. And sorry, that's a term here. And I was just sitting in my room just dwelling over it, and I was always thinking about her getting it from a guy who, was just 10 times better than me in every way, and just this amazing all these kind of things. And again, don't let yourself go down that path, okay? So again, wrapping all this up, those were the 5 things you do when you're needy and clingy, and it comes from an insecurity. Now, it's your job to find out where that insecurity lies by asking some deep questions. It's better to do it now before you build a complex and you kind of ruin yourself, okay? So that being said, sorry I went on with this. I love you ladies. Take care and peace.